Okay, so this is for personal finance and section 1.4. So I'm just going to go over a couple of these questions, kind of explain to you how I would do them, and then you can take it from there. Okay. So this first question, it says if a country's debt to GDP ratio is currently 50% and its debt is expected to grow from $40 trillion to $50 trillion in the next 5 years, what will the country's GDP, that's gross domestic product, have to be in 5 years to maintain the current debt to GDP ratio? Okay, so what they're saying is the debt to the gross domestic product is 50%. So what I did first, I took, like, we know it's 50%, and then currently it's $40 trillion. So what I did is I just said, like, okay, $40 trillion is 50%. We write that as 0.50 of what's the total amount. So if the debt is 50% and we know the debt's $40 trillion, then what's that? What is $40 trillion 50% of? Okay, so you can kind of think of like 40 is 50% of what, or 40 is half of what number. So to solve it algebraically, we would just divide by 0.50, and here you get x equals 80. So that would be $80 trillion is the current GDP. So this is $80 trillion, and I'm just going to say gross domestic product. That's current, okay? So what they want to know is in 5 years, when the debt is $50 trillion, what's the actual gross domestic product? So I'm going to say this time 50 trillion is equal to 0.50. That's 50% of what number, okay? And so you divide by 0.50 algebraically, or you can think about it in terms of logic, like 50 is half of what number, and that would be 100. So it's technically $100 trillion is the gross domestic product, okay? Okay, and that's where they get the answer there. And that's how I would set it up. Okay, question 3. Keith wants to buy an address book that costs $5, but he only has $1.25 in his budget. What is his budget deficit? So that means, like, how much is he short? If he has $1.25 and what he wants to buy is $5, a deficit is how much money you are short, or like how much money you need in order to, like, how much extra money you would need in order to buy it, okay? So we're going to start with how much he has, $1.25. We're going to subtract the amount that he wants, and you can really do this either way. So $1.25 minus $5, that would be negative $3.75. So that shows us he's in the hole, or has a deficit of $3.75, okay? And that's it. You just subtract them. Okay, the next one. If the public debt of a country in 2009 was this huge number, so you've got thousands, hundred thousands, millions, billions, trillions. So 12,752 billion. And the budget for 2010 was in deficit by 201,645 million. What's the public debt in 2010? So we start with, I'm going to change my highlighter color. We start with this number, and we're adding, that's the current debt. We're adding a deficit. They're saying, like, we're going to go more in debt. We're expecting a deficit of that $201 billion, okay? Then, how much are they going to be in debt? Okay, so what we're going to do is just add those numbers together. So we've got, and just be very careful here, 5, 2, and then we've got 9 zeros there. And I'm going to add that to, here we have 201,645 million. And so 6 zeros. And so if we add those together, you can do this on your calculator. You can just do the math, actually. So I would have 12,953,645 with 6 zeros. And it just says do not have any commas in your answer. So you would just want to write it like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, and that's right. You can, again, just do that in your calculator, or you can add your columns down if you'd like. Okay, question 6. The public debt of the Apex Republic is that huge number. So we start with this huge number. while its gross domestic product, GDP, is this large number. What is the Apex Republic's debt to GDP ratio? So when it says debt to GDP ratio, we kind of think of that as a fraction. So we're going to say debt over gross domestic product, okay? So we put the amount of debt on the top, that's right here. So we have 6, and then 5, 7, 8, 1, 1, 6, 9, 3, 2, 1, 9, 6, 0, 3, 4. That's the amount of debt. Over GDP on the bottom is 19, 3, 3, 8, 1, 8, 9, 2, 3, 3, 8, 5, 1, 7, 9, 4. Okay, so this one you have to divide. So I'm doing that huge number on the top. So 6, 5, 7, 8, 1, 1, 6, 9, 3, 2, 1, 9, 6, 0, 3, 4 divided by 19, 3, 3, 8, 1, 8, 9, 2, 3, 3, 8, 5, 1, 7, 9, 4. And you're going to get your answer here. Your ratio is 0.34016199. Okay. So that's as a decimal. In order to get the percentage, we just move a decimal over 2 times. So it's 34.02%, basically. 34.02. So the closest answer here is 34%. Okay, if the public debt of the United States in 2004 was that huge number, so we start again, here's our debt. And the budget deficit is, so they're expecting to go more in debt. That's what they're saying, budget deficit. They're budgeting to go into additional debt. So then what is the public debt in 2005? Okay, so we're just going to add those two numbers together. So again, do this very carefully. You have 330.52690.330.32 plus, and then I'm going to write from this end because I don't know how it lines up. 965,656, and then 553. Okay, I can assume it's going to be D just because all these these groupings of numbers line up and I have 7 in front of that. So unless we're carrying over a lot of numbers, I can assume that it's D. That's the only one that starts with a 7, but I want to make sure. Okay, so very carefully again in your calculator, I'm going to add this together in my calculator. So 7,379,052,696,330.32 plus 553,656,965,393.18. What my calculator tells me is, okay, so it says 7.932709662E12. What this notation means, and it explains this in Apex if you walk through, it's like the very first part of section 1.4. It means you're going to take that number and we're going to move the decimal place over 12 times. So if I take this decimal, then I move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's basically 7,932,709,662 with 3 zeros. We fill in zeros for those numbers there. And that's pretty close. It's not exactly, like you can see right here, it's technically 661,723. They round it to 662, okay? So this is the closest number. If we add it ourselves, you're going to find here, if I add right here, the 2 and the 8, that's 10. I'm going to carry my 1. 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. You'll get the exact number if you do the actual addition yourself, okay? All right, last one. There are two ways the debt to GDP ratio can decrease, okay? So again, think of this as debt over GDP. And so we're supposed to select 2 ways that the debt to GDP ratio can decrease. Okay, so in a fraction, your fraction gets smaller. That's what decreasing means. So your fraction gets smaller if the top number gets smaller. So I'm going to say the top number can go down, or if the bottom number gets bigger, your fraction is going to get smaller. Okay, so like, let's say like I have 2/5. That as a decimal is, well, you know what, we don't really need to know it as a decimal. So 2/5, let's say I have 2/5. If I decrease the top number and keep the bottom number the same, that would be like this option right here. So if I decrease the top number, maybe to 1/5, and keep the bottom number the same, that's now a smaller fraction, okay? Or I can increase the bottom number. I can make the bottom number go up. So let's say like I keep the top the same and the bottom number increases to 6. That is also a smaller fraction. So if we want our debt to GDP ratio to decrease, we want our fraction to get smaller, it's one of those two options. If you wanted your fraction to get bigger, it would be one of the other two options. Your top number would go up or your bottom number would go down, okay?